y'all doing? Oh, hello. Get these guys a new strip of grass. You can see the difference between their pasture that we set up for them yesterday and the pasture that we're going to move them into today. So what we do to set up the poly wire is we first string out the wire, which is on these reels right here. And then we follow along with what we call pigtail posts. And these posts just go right into the ground. They have a little step for us to step onto to get them into the ground. And those help us hold up the poly wire. After all of our poly wire is set up, we electrify it using a fence charger that you can see here. It is grounded to our barbed wire fence right there with the green clip, and then we attach it to make the wire hot with our red clip here. And then we run these off of just regular deep cell batteries. We are ready to move the animals into their new field. Once the animals are in their new pasture and we've picked up the old poly wire from the last field that they were in, all that we have to do is take the quad and move the mineral feeder and then also move their lovely little nose pumps. Here's kind of a closer look at this nose pump situation, but what this does is the animals just kind of push this with their nose and it ends up releasing water into the trough for them. The hoses we just extend out and into the creek. And so that's what we have done here. We just kind of weight them down with some rocks to make sure that they end up staying there. Each day we also like to take a moment and just walk through each of our herds just to make sure that everyone's looking happy and healthy. Getting cows and calves in is always interesting, but we were able to do it, and now all we have to do is sort off a few and then we'll start vaccinating some calves. When sorting off our calves, what we do is we have an outside circle which goes along the complete outside portion of the corral, and then we have an inside portion that fits right in the middle of the outside. So the outside's kind of like a big U, and then the inside's right in the center. We use those to help us sort who's staying in and then who goes out, which is into the main portion of our corral. Then when it comes time to actually administer the vaccines, we have a little loading area into our chute. So we just kind of smash everyone in there, get as many calves as we can into the chute so that we can just vaccinate them in a row as we go.
You kind of keep track of who I've done, okay?
Yeah, I got
Far side, right? Out.
All right, so now that we've finished vaccinating all of the fall calves, we just have to do a little bit of sorting here in the corral. There are 2 vaccines that we did give them today. One of them is Clostridium, and then one of them is for respiratory viruses.
Vaccine, then you give them, about 3 weeks later, give them a booster. Then you wean the calf. And then the cows, we give them these vaccines on an annual basis, once a year in the fall.
While we had the cows and calves in, we also separated off our 3 bulls. That's in a goal to make sure that the cows that have already given birth do not get rebred back out of our sequence of when we want them to calve. Getting them out of the corral. Come on, buddies. Come on, buddies. Let's go. And it is really hard to move bulls together because they have a tendency to fight the entire time. Come on. A lot of the time it can be easier to move them one at a time. Let's go. Come on. I know you want to fight. Come on. Let's go. Let's get out of here. All right, after moving those bulls and getting a quick bite to eat, we are back in the corral now. We have a couple of cows that are having some hoof issues. We're gonna try to give them some antibiotics and hopefully that'll clear it up for them. We don't really like to give antibiotics to any of our animals unless they are having issues like this or respiratory issues. So we just finished giving those cows their antibiotics, got them sorted back to where they need to be, and now I believe we're gonna go and do a little bit of fencing in our back meadows before we finish up for the rest of the day. So a lot of fixing fence is dealing with these 2 items right here. Here we have our little metal T-post clip, and then we have the insulator T-post clips. These are the ones that you're going to be using if it doesn't matter if the wire is going to be hot or not. These are the ones that you want to use if it is going to be electrified and hot. So in this case, the reason why we're using these is more so that we can easily remove the wires from the post, and that's because this is a major elk crossing during the winter time. We have an offset wire that was broken and is also missing a chunk of wire, so we just have to splice on a new section and then use the fence stretcher to make it nice and tight. So let's get to it. We just use these little pieces right here. We place those on the wire and then just crimp them down, and that's what holds the wire together.
Yes.
And then attach the hot section to the wire.
French stretcher.
The French stretcher.